Yo, what's up guys? It's Tori the Farmer, and yeah, so I am doing the My Brother is Sam audiobook. So basically we have to read this for homework, I think. But why not make it interesting? So I was listening to an audiobook on YouTube and it sounds pretty easy to do, so let's do this. So, we gotta go to chapter 2. And by the way, while this is going, feel free to leave at any time if it gets too cringy. Oh gosh, you already know it's gonna be a cringe video when I have my clout goggles on. So, oh, what's up? Someone's viewing it. Yeah, okay, so I'm just about to read it. So this is good. Okay. My father's name was Elephant, but everybody called him Life. My mother's name was Susanna. Father was born in Reading, where we have our tavern. But mother was born over in New York. Their names were Platt. Oh no, he had cousins over there where she used to live. Their names were Platt, which used to be my mother's name. I never met them, but when father went over Verplax Point every year to sell cattle and buy supplies, he stayed with them and caught up on the news. Shout out to Barks Root Beer. Reading wasn't much of a high of a town compared with places like New Haven. Although actually I've been to New Haven. About the only big place I've ever been was Fairfield, down on Long Island South, where I used to go sometimes with Father and Sam to pick up sugar or rum. It is my room. That came up from the Barda boats and big ships. Oh, by the way, if you're watching this after the live stream, by the way, yeah, I'm talking to the people in the chat. There were thousands of people in Fairfield, at least it seemed that, but there were only a few hundred in Reading. How many paragraphs in? Like 3 already, and I'm tired. Reading was divided into 2 parts, Reading Center and Reading Ridge. Reading Ridge, which was where they lived. Our tavern was at a corner where Danbury Fairfield Road met Cross Highway. Across the Danbury Fairfield Road from us was the church and the graveyard. Next to the church on the... Who are you, Cheetah? Next to the church on the other side of Cross Highway was an empty field where the train band practiced drilling. Next to the door with us was Bet's house, and scattered around were dozens more houses. The Stanford's house and the Roger's Huron's house and some others. Our tavern was finished with shingles, but some of the richer people, like Mr. Huron, had white clapboards slitting in their houses. Thanks for the like, whoever liked it. Our church in Redding Ridge was the Anglican church. Anglican meant English church. In England, everyone had belonged to it, or at least were supposed to. In Connecticut, we had freedom of religion, so you could belong to any church you wanted, unless you were Papist. But there were or is it Papist? I don't know. I don't really. Poppy. With Takashi, call him Poppy. Worked at ASAP, keep me rocky. I'm from New York, so I'm cocky. Okay, but there were hardly any of them in Connecticut. At Reading Center, there was the Presbyterian Church. Naturally, if you were a Presbyterian, you built your house over there, and if you were Anglican, you built it over here on Ridge, although, of course, there were lots of farmers like me all around who didn't live near any church and just went to the one they wanted. Because our church was an English church, the people here on Ridge seemed to be more on the Tory side and wanted to be loyal to the king. To tell the truth, I didn't exactly understand what the argument was all about ever since I could remember. All my life, in fact, there had been these discussions and arguments and debates about whether we ought to obey His Majesty's government or whether we should rebel. What kept confusing me is about the thing that the argument didn't have two sides the way an argument should, but about 6 sides. Some people said that the king was the king and others that was that, and we ought to do what he said. Other people said that all men were supposed to be free to govern themselves, and we should rebel and drive the lobster backs out together. Some others said, well, they were born in Englishmen and they wanted to die Englishmen, but that the colonies ought to have more say in their government, and that we'd have to give the lobster backs a taste of blood just to show the king that we meant business. Oh, people had all kinds of ideas. That we, the New Englanders, ought to join together, or that the colonies ought to set up one big government, or that all the colonies ought to set up one big government, or that, well, I don't know. I can't even remember all the different sides of the argument. You can see how confusion it was when you realize that sometimes Sam's side was called the Patriots and sometimes they were called rebels. I guess I'd been reading newspaper stories about it and hearing people shout over the whole thing for so long that I didn't listen anymore. It just went in one ear and out the other. But now it seemed like it wasn't going to just be arguments anymore. around 50 of the Minutemen and the Minute Maid Lemonade. Lots of British troops had been killed on Friday at Lexington or Concord. Not Concord. Or whatever it was, although no one seemed to know how many for sure. And Sam was gonna fight. Stream while you're sleeping. Maybe 70 subscribers. But now it seemed like it wasn't just gonna be arguments anymore. Around 50 of the Minutemen Lemonade and lots of man-made lemonade. Lots of British troops had been killed on Friday at Lexington or Concord or whatever it was, although nobody seemed how many for sure, and Sam was gonna fight. I think I've already read that paragraph. Okay. Sunday morning was bright and sunny and warm. The rain had stopped during the night. Although the road was full of mud, the fields were drying, and the birds were singing. I couldn't enjoy it very much, though. The fight Sam had with Father the night before still hung around me the way a bad dream does sometimes. Sam and Father had fights before, and they always got over them in a day or two. But this one seemed worse than the others. And it worried me that maybe they wouldn't fix it up. I didn't usually think Father would want to talk about it. Usually when something important happened, he would just ignore it until he decided what to do. So I was surprised that he brought it up when we were getting ready to go to church. By the way, shout out to Bradley for shouting out my stream on the Ascetic group chat. Tim, did Sam say anything to you about going to the war? I didn't want to lie to Father, but I didn't want to give Sam away either. Well, he said he was, but I thought he was probably just boasting. He wasn't boasting, Tim. He was going over to Wethersfield. The fools are planning to march up on the Massachusetts to meddle in something that isn't a fair... Oh, I mean Massachusetts. Not Massachusetts. Oops. Is he really going to fight, Father? I hope not, he said. Then he frowned. What do you think of all this, Tim? I don't know, Father, I said. I can't figure out what it exactly is about. Thanks for everyone watching right now. I suppose Sam's been preaching. I can preach too. Rebellion to you. I tried to think of something that wouldn't get Sam in any more trouble. Well, you know what doesn't get you in trouble? Enlightenment. He said we ought to be free. That's just college boy-win, Father said. He sounded pretty scornful. Who isn't free? Aren't we all free? The whole argument is over a few taxes that hardly amount to do anything for most people. What's the use of principles if you have to be dead to keep them? We're Englishmen, Timmy. Of course, there were injustice keys, but there were always injustices. That's the way of God's world. But you never get rid of injustices by fighting. Look at OP. They've had one war after another for hundreds of years. And show me anything ever got any better for them. Let's go to church. It's time for prayer and enlightenment. Well, it doesn't say that, but I see that. I decided to forget about the whole thing. It was too worrying. Well, I found my first semicolon. We went out across the muddy road to church, and I climbed up into the balcony where the children, Indians, and black people sat. Redding Ridge being a small place, I knew everyone there. All kids, and Tom Rurups and Ned and Star's black man. I sat down next to Jerry Sanford. Jerry wasn't a couple of years younger than me, but he was the person closest to my age around, and we did a lot of things together. And the first thing he said was, we heard Sam ran away to fight. Nobody was gonna let me forget about it, and that was sure. Sorry for my dogs. Nobody was going to let me forget about it. That was sure. Mr. Beach made it the subject of his sermon. He really got wound up on it too. He said that our first duty was to God, but that our Lord Jesus Christ had said, render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and that he meant we were supposed to be loyal Englishmen. How many pages are there? Oh my gosh. Well, stay tuned for part 2. So yeah, bye! Hold on, how do I end this exactly? Hold on. Oh, there we go. Bye!